Hey everybody, nice to see you again. Um, Charlie is nowhere to be seen, so I'm not sure he's going to make a cameo today. I did a video for my children's lit class earlier today, and he just got in the way. He was right here. Um, but unfortunately, you're not going to get a close-up of him today, but hopefully in the next video you'll see him. Couple of things. Um, Obviously, Wednesday and Friday of this week would have been the days that the student presentations would have been done. And of course, we're unfortunately not going to be able to do that. Although the written part of the presentation is due on Wednesday. So if you're in that group, please send those to me. And you can work with somebody on this like you could before if you're working together online or electronically or whatever, but they are due on Wednesday. And I wanted to also mention that you're not going to be penalized in any way. Those of you who are in that group, you're not going to be penalized grade-wise for not having done an in-class presentation. It's just how things happened. Over break, I'm going to be looking into some programs such as Zoom, so that when we come back from break, we may be able to have a little bit more of an interactive situation than what we have right now. One of the first things I got to do, I just ordered it, is I don't have a camera or a microphone for my computer here. So of course you need that to work with programs like Zoom. So I'm going to get that and kind of work with that over break, and then hopefully when we come back, we'll be able to work something out, because there are presentations involved with the final paper, and I do definitely want to have those be done in some fashion. The other thing I wanted to say is probably on Friday, look in your Blackboard for the assignment that's going to be due on Monday, the Monday we would come back. There is some reading in the packet that's involved, and also most importantly, some preparation on the final paper and presentation. So I want you to read that over break and kind of get ready for that. And I'll talk more about that in a video as we get closer to that. All right, so look for that. And if you have any questions or want to get started working on it over break, feel free to do that. But the written assignment, there will be a WA involved as well that'll be due the Monday we come back. Also a reminder, if you want to turn in paper 2 sometime this week or next week, fine, but the deadline for paper 2 is due on Monday the 30th when we come back. One other comment, I read through everybody's WAs, and as far as the comments on the scenes, the missing scenes from Fences, every scene got some votes, so that kind of spoke to how much quality we had. But the 2 scenes that got the most votes were scene 3, and that's Holly, Brandon, Abigail, and Brooke from the second class, and scene 5, Liz, Ben, Sam, and Tori from the first class. So congratulations to you guys, you got the most votes. I think I'll throw in a couple extra WA points for you guys since you got the most votes. And they were all very good. And I hope you all read the different missing scenes, and they all had strengths and very interesting to read. As far as the WA that you gave me, I really enjoyed reading those. Your comments on how important it is to still teach night today in 2020. I think we all can agree with that for a variety of reasons. That could be a possible paper topic. It's one of the ones listed. Defend night and the teaching of the Holocaust in today's world. Give reasons why kids today should still learn about this. And there's no shortage of reasons that you could come up with to support that. So that's one paper topic, just in case you still haven't figured out a paper 2 topic. And then, of course, the main question was what kinds of examples from history have been similar to the Holocaust, where great numbers of people were brutally disenfranchised, usually from a very strong, powerful minority force who took control and then decided to persecute this said group for whatever reason. Of course, we see it in the Holocaust, and we talked about that a little bit in my last video. And I saw a number of examples come up again and again and again, going all the way back to Roman times. That certainly was a factor. Many people brought up slavery. I always say, though, in class when we talk about this, that the one difference between American slavery times and the Holocaust or something like that is kind of a strange difference, but it is kind of distinct. The slaves, and as awful as this system is, to think that one human being could own another human being as property is just horrifying. But at least, in some sense that you can say this, at least the slave had some value, if that makes any kind of sense, as a piece of property, whereas Jews were dispensable. I'm always reminded of a scene in Schindler's List where the commandant wakes up one morning and he has an apartment above the camp, and he wakes up and he goes off to the veranda and he looks out over the camp and he sees all the Jewish prisoners, various working and so on. And he takes out a rifle, and just as morning target practice, he starts shooting at a few of them who were older or sick, who weren't doing any work, and he just shot them dead because he knew, there would be thousands to take their place. With slavery, it was kind of in the best interest for the slave owner to keep his slave healthy. That doesn't mean they weren't terribly abused and whatever, but it is kind of an interesting, kind of strange distinction there. But obviously what we did in our country, our history, slavery is a black mark on us. Many people brought up, of course, our treatment of Native Americans, the Trail of Tears. What do you call that if not genocide? We wanted to, through manifest destiny, take over this beautiful country and move west, and there were human beings in our way, and we had to get rid of them. And by I don't mean we, but so that was our justification. And so we had names for them too. We called them savages, and you could apply some of the warning signs of fascism to how we brought about the horrors in our own history. Start with slavery. You can talk about the Trail of Tears. You can talk about many of you wrote about the Japanese internment camps. So our history, our hands aren't clean. All of these would be interesting paper topics. How did these compare to other things like the Holocaust? Many of you wrote about some of the horrors that the Soviet Union and Russia imposed upon their citizens. Particularly Stalin was horrific. Others brought up the Armenian genocide of the 1915 to 1922. More recently, what happened in Cambodia in the 70s. I'm old enough that was on my watch. You guys were too young. You weren't born yet. Also, Uganda of the 1970s, there was a horrific dictator named Idi Amin who murdered hundreds of thousands of his own citizens if they went against him. Then more recently, still before your time, but we're talking about the 1990s now, the Rwandan genocide. Here's Charlie. I know, hi. I'm in the middle of something, okay? He's never where I want him until I don't want him to be somewhere, and then now he shows up. Some of you mentioned the ongoing caste system in India, which I think is interesting, and of course that's been going on for centuries and still exists today. Some of you brought up the anti-Muslim sentiment that occurs and has occurred after 9/11 in this country. And sadly, some of the things that are going on today, around the world. Who knows what's going on in North Korea, for example? how their citizens are being treated. And even in our own country, some of you made the comparison to what's happening at our border, the immigration camps that are being set up, children in cages. Hey, Charlie. He did make a cameo. And now he's gonna interrupt me. And some of you brought up the mass incarcerations of individuals that happen in this country. So, I mean, there's no shortage of examples, unfortunately, in world history, human history, including recent times where things similar to the Holocaust happen. Thinking in terms of paper topics, I mean, you could write a paper about how any one or maybe several of these examples followed the fascist playbook, if you wanted to take that approach. You could also take a look at how the Holocaust compares to any one of these and try to find some interesting similarities. And also there'll be interesting differences too, like I pointed out the one with slavery. And then, you know, people always ask me, well, what's the so what question, Mr. Shank? And maybe in this kind of paper, answering the so what question would be, what can we learn by doing this? What can we learn by studying atrocities and genocides that have happened in the past? Not just the Holocaust, but other things, including in our own country. What do we learn from it? Do they all have warning signs that if somebody had noticed them early on, they could have been stopped? That's another potential topic for discussion. Good paper topic. So I'm trying to throw out some ideas. These are the kind of things we would have had more time to talk about in class, and you would have had a chance to offer your examples, and we could have talked about them. Unfortunately, again, we're not able to do that. But I just wanted to share my comments on this WA with you. As I said, presentations due Wednesday and Friday. Paper 2 is due anytime between now and the 30th. And again, look in your Blackboard, if not Thursday, at least by the very latest Friday, and I will give you what the reading assignment and the WA is going to be for the day we would have come back. And really everything from now on is going to be to help prepare you for the final big paper 3. And then we'll talk more about the final creative project after that. So that's what shapes up over the last 5 weeks of class after we have spring break. All right, that's all I have for now. I'm trying to keep these relatively brief, at least under 15 minutes, because if they're longer than that, then it takes forever to download or upload or whatever you want to call it. Please stay safe, stay well. Again, if you have any questions or issues or problems, feel free to contact me about anything at any time. I'm here. I miss you guys like crazy. I just do. And a number of you have sent me emails that have said the same thing. Again, I even got some positive feedback about meeting one last time in the fall, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, I'll sign off for now. We'll talk to you later. Take care. Have a good week, and see you later.